Happy hello to all. On one of the beautiful cities of the world, there was a famous restaurant, owned by an Indian, Nachiappan. Juno was the chief cook of the restaurant, as well as assisting Nachiappan and his family. Nachiappan has two identical twin sons, Visu and Ramu. They both were very affectionate towards each other, and they doesn't allow any differences between them. They are very sincere in doing their medical degree at a university in the mornings, and help their dad at the restaurant in the evenings. Their philosophy of life is very simple: work hard during the weekdays and party hard during the weekends.
And during the same time, on another beautiful city, scientist Vaseegaran is seriously involved in creating an advanced humanoid robot. His dream is to dedicate one such advanced humanoid robot to the Indian Army, which could save a lot of soldiers' life. He created it in such a way that it can do anything in the world, based on the owner's order. He considers that robot to be his own child, and created it with utmost care. He named the robot as Chitti Babu, and calls it Chitti. And after all the trials were done, he takes Chitti to the International Robotic Conference. He felt happy, excited, and proud that somehow he could pull it off successfully, after almost a decade of hard work. Chitti was presented in front of an expert panel, which also has Professor Bora, mentor of Vaseegaran. He was jealous in a way that his assistant did something which he could not do. Meanwhile, when delivering food at the airport, Visu noticed a Tamil family got stuck at the immigration. He then came to know that it was Madhumitha, along with her brother and grandma Krishnavini, who came to Los Angeles for their grandma's operation, at the same campus where they study. Visu and family facilitated their process, and helped to fulfill the grandma's wish before her operation. The surgery was successful, and grandma is now out of danger. And in turn, the grandma treated Visu and his family, who helped to get her life back. And eventually, in between all these, Madhu and Visu fell in love with each other. While they are romancing in Los Angeles, another romance was happening in Chennai. Yes, it is Vasi's girlfriend, Sana, who is also a medical student. Vasi introduced Chitti to Sana, and she was really excited to see such a robot, which behaves like human. And she really enjoyed being with Chitti. After all the necessary training, Vasi brings Chitti to the AIRD evaluation panel, headed by Professor Bora. But Bora rejects approval of Chitti, stating that it could do harm to mankind, following wrong comments. Vasi was disappointed and upset with this act, and decided to feed emotions to Chitti, the robot, to make it understand the human emotions and differentiate the good and the bad. The human emotions is the base for all happenings in the world. Here, Nachyapan rejects Visu and Madhu's marriage proposal, due to one of such emotion. He reveals that he was an identical twin himself, and his twin brother lives somewhere in Tamil Nadu. Before 25 years, himself and his brother Pechiyappan were together running a hotel at their hometown, but the problem arises when they got married. After that, there were a lot of quarrels and fights, happened regularly in their family. Particularly due to the cowardness of his brother and arrogance of his brother's wife, which leads to the death of his beloved wife, after giving birth to twin sons. Nachyapan decides to leave his brother's family, and left along with his 2 sons. He firmly believes that marrying girls from different family is the reason for whatever bad that has happened in his life. So he was very adamant that his twin sons has to get married only to the twin sisters from a same family, in order to avoid problems after marriage. When Visu's love life is at stake, Vasi's efforts to feed emotions to Chitti backfired. And this is how Chitti become emotionally balanced enough to deal with pregnancy for a lady. He successfully operated and brought the baby out. And on cloud 9, Sana hugged and kissed Chitti for doing this miraculous job. That first kiss kindles the imaginary harmonical emotions of Chitti. He feels it does something to him. And the next day when Vasi brought Chitti for the military test, Chitti, who was in a romantic mood, sings poetry thinking about Sana. He also advises the military personnels to choose love instead of war. Vasi got angry on Chitti, as he spoiled his dream, and his love thoughts towards Sana. And he got out of control and breaks Chitti into pieces. He considers Chitti to be his own brother, but its emotional machinery behavior hurts him. They got nobody to blame other than the emotion that forced this happening. Chitti was then thrown out to garbage. Both Sana and Vasi feels bad for Chitti. Okay, enough of conflicts. After knowing the condition by Nachyapan, Krishnavenipati feels relieved, and revealed that Madhumitha is also a twin. And her twin sister, Vaishnavi, is away from the family, due to horoscope issues. She adds that Vaishnavi is also doing her medical degree in Chennai. And only herself and her daughter-in-law knows that. But Nachyapan couldn't believe it. But later he believed, after Krishnavenipati's promise. He also happily agreed for Visu and Madhu's marriage. Also, they decided to go to Chennai, to meet Vaishnavi and decide about Ramu's wedding. Madhu was happy, shocked and surprised on hearing about her twin sister. And to add to her excitement, Krishnavenipati tells that Vaishnavi was real, and looks exactly like Madhu. On the other side, Ramu, on hearing about Vaishnavi, started imagining about her. After both the families reached Chennai, Ramu went to the railway station to receive Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi looked exactly the same like Madhu. And Ramu was completely floored by her traditional beauty. But wait. That was just his imagination, on hearing the name Vaishnavi. But what happened actually was, Ramu went to receive Vaishnavi. And there, to his surprise, he saw an ultra-modern version of Madhu, not the traditional version which he imagined, and she introduced herself as Vaishnavi, alias Sana. With surprise shock, he received her, and they went home. On reaching home, the twin sisters meets each other for the first time. And they were on happy tears. After all the greetings, hugs and kisses, laughter and tears, they shared each other's story. Madhu tells about Visu, and their love, and all that has happened between the two families. Sana was shocked, on hearing Nachyapan's condition for Madhu's marriage. She then tells Madhu about Vaseegaran, and their love. On hearing this, Madhu was happy for her sister, but at the same time she worries about her marriage. So both of them decides to think a way out to get along with their loved ones. But before they figure it out, suddenly the next day, Nachyapan and Krishnavenipati has arranged for the engagement of Visu, Madhumitha, and Ramu, Vaishnavi, without the consent of Madhu and Sana. They have got a special guest as well. Yes, Pechiappan, brother of Nachyapan, came there to visit his brother and sons after 25 years. And the engagement function happens happily. After the function, Pechiappan decides to commit suicide. But when Nachyapan comes for his rescue, he reveals that his wife's arrogance has gone out of control. Also, his debit amount were high. And due to his cowardness he decided to die. But he waited for so long just to see his brother once before his death. Nachyapan, on hearing this, decides to swap himself in place of Pechiappan. He said he will go as Pechiappan, and convince his wife somehow before their son's marriage, and clear all his debit amount. Until then, he asks Pechiappan to be in his place, and manage as Nachyapan. And thankful Pechiappan agrees to this. So the brothers swap their places. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Madhu and Sana decides to tell Vaseegaran and Sana's love matter to Visu and Ramu. Initially they were shocked, and Ramu felt disappointed. But later he realized the truth, and Ramu convinced himself and his brother. He also promised Sana that he will somehow convince his father and sort everything. Sana felt happy and thankful to Ramu. And as said, Ramu tries to convince his father. He asked him to consider the love between Visu and Madhu, and let go of his stupid condition of a twin marrying a twin. But Pechiappan, who was acting as Nachyapan, initially refuses. But over a point, for the happiness of the sons, he agrees for Visu and Madhu's wedding. He also tells that Sana and Vaseegaran's marriage can also happen on the same day as engaged, if they are okay with it. This made all of them happy. And Sana calls Vasi to tell about this. Vasi, who was in low, thinking about Chitti, agrees to this as well, hoping this would bring him back to normal. Meanwhile, Professor Bora takes back Chitti from the garbage, and tries to redesign it with a red chip, which adds destructive powers to Chitti. And Nachyapan, who is acting as Pechiappan, convinces Sundarambal, by his good deeds. He clears all the debits as well, and convinces her to attend his brother's son's wedding. And there comes the marriage day. Nachyapan was shocked to see Vasi's name, instead of his son, Ramu's name. He angrily went in search of his brother Pechiappan. And inside the wedding hall, Sundarambal was happy to see Visu and Madhu in the wedding. But when she sees Vasi's face, she was shocked. She found that Vaseegaran was her ex-lover's son. And she felt happy in a way inside. But Nachyapan came back, and asked Krishnavenipati to stop the marriage immediately. He again started from the first, that he will give his twin sons, only to a twin sisters. And said that day he agreed for the sake of his sons, but today he changed his mind again. But Visu and Ramu got frustrated by this sudden change in their father's behavior, and started shouting at him. Pechiappan couldn't bear this, and at the heat of the moment, he reveals that it was him who approved for the marriage. And no mistake was on his brother, as Nachyapan was acting like him till yesterday, to solve his problems. Sundarambal got angry on hearing this.
காரைக்குடிக்கு என் புருஷனா வந்தது நீயா? நீ எல்லாம் ஒரு மனுஷனா? நினைக்கவே எனக்கு அருவருப்பா இருக்கே.
She shouted at him, and said that if he is not approving for the marriage, she will leave his brother immediately.
நான் உன் குடும்பத்துக்கு செஞ்சதெல்லாம் நல்லதுக்கு தான் தெரிஞ்சிருந்தோம். புருஷனா நட்டது மட்டும் பெருசு பண்ணி அத்துக்கிட்டு போறேன். நீ ஏன் இப்படி வரட்டு பிடிவாதம் பிடிக்கிற?
நீ பிடிக்கல? கட்டி வச்சா ரெட்ட பேர்களுக்கு தான் உன் பிள்ளைகளை கட்டி வைப்பேன்னு நீ வரட்டு பிடிவாதம் பிடிக்கல? நீங்க செஞ்சது நல்லதுக்குனா அவங்க செஞ்சதும் நல்லதுக்குதான். நீங்க செஞ்சது சரினா அவங்க செஞ்சதும் சரிதான். அவங்க செஞ்சது தப்புனா அப்ப நீங்க செஞ்சது தப்புதான். நீங்க செஞ்சது சரினா நானும் என் புருஷனமா நின்னு அச்சதை போட்டு அந்த பிள்ளைகளுக்கு ஆசீர்வாதம் பண்றோம். நீங்க செஞ்சது தப்புனா நான் இப்படியே அத்துக்கிட்டு நடைய கட்டுறேன்.
So, what else? Has he got any option left? He agreed for the marriage, and they lived happily thereafter. But wait. We forgot somebody, right?
நான் சனாவை பார்க்க போறேன்.
சனா இப்ப வீட்ல இருக்க மாட்டா.
ராஜா முத்தையா மண்டபத்துல இருப்பா.
ஏன்?
வசீகரனுக்கு சனாக்கு கல்யாணம்.